In the wake of President Trump's ban on people traveling from 7 Muslim-majority countries, many lawmakers are speaking out. Our Nancy Cordes spoke with Senate Minority Leader and New York Senator Chuck Schumer on Capitol Hill earlier today about his feelings on the controversial travel ban.
I think people could lose their lives as a result of this, particularly those who cooperated and helped our military. They become a target for the forces over there, the ISIS forces.
Do you think that it's merely that this sends the wrong message abroad, or do you think it actually makes Americans less safe?
I'd go with John McCain. He said it makes us less safe. And one of the ways he pointed out, what is our greatest danger from terrorism these days? It's lone wolves, American citizens inspired by these evil people from ISIS on the internet. This kind of order isolates them, and they're a small number, but it increases their number.
Do you know of anyone on Capitol Hill who was consulted about this beforehand? And what do you think it says about the power of advisors like Stephen Bannon, like Stephen Miller, that they were reportedly able to go above the heads of some at DHS about parts of this executive order?
Well, I think this thing was done on the back of an envelope. So many agencies that had to implement this were not consulted. And it was so poorly done and so poorly thought out that I think it's bad no matter what. But the chaos that was created was in good part because they rushed this through. When you do something serious like this, there should be consultation with the military, with the diplomatic corps, and with the people, Border Patrol and Customs, who should implement this. From what I'm told, there was virtually none.
Republicans didn't like it when President Obama issued executive orders. They called him the imperial presidency. How do you think his orders stack up to what we've seen from this president in the past week?
None of the orders that President Obama issued have garnered this degree of outrage and public outcry. You didn't see huge demonstrations in the streets for any of Obama's orders, but this goes so against what America's all about and the American grain that the American people are aroused. This goes far beyond anything President Obama did.
I haven't seen you as emotional before as you were this weekend. Why?
Well, because you meet these immigrants and they're, Donald Trump somehow would like America to believe most immigrants are terrorists or criminals. They're not. They're the American future. And you meet this brave man who protected our soldiers, who's so relieved he got here. The other family I met, beautiful little children. The little boy wanted to be a policeman. The girl wanted to be a doctor. And they had a suicide bomber blow himself up in front of their house. They were lucky to get here. Their grandparents are Americans. They had come in 1970. The grandfather's part of the American dream. He owns a little boat reupholstering company. So you see these people and you feel their pain, their anguish of so many others who are still there.
So you weren't faking it, as President Trump says?
That doesn't even deserve a dignified response.
Senator Jeff Merkley said on a separate topic that Democrats were prepared to block any Supreme Court nominee who is not Merrick Garland. Explain what the strategy is, and how long can you block a Supreme Court nominee?
I'm not going to comment on anything about the Supreme Court till we see the nominee.
But you said the other day you're willing to block this person
for
a long time if they are not mainstream.
I'm not going to comment on the specifics of any person and what would be done. But in general, if the nominee, we hope, will be in the mainstream and garner bipartisan support, that would be great. If they're out of the mainstream and wouldn't garner bipartisan support, we're going to fight that nominee tooth and nail. We'll see how this nominee stacks up, whoever he or she is.
And my last question, on the National Security Council, Stephen Bannon joining the council, the Joint Chiefs being taken off. Can you talk about your reaction to that?
Our military and intelligence community, Democrat and Republican, is aghast. You don't put a politician here because these are life and death decisions that should be made on the merits. And the best advice can come from people like the head of the Joint Chiefs, who is no longer on the panel, like the head of the DNI, the intelligence, the overall intelligence agency, who is not on the panel. I really worry about the future here with all of these quick changes that don't seem to have a lot of preparation or thought, whether it's the executive order on immigration or changing the Security Council for the president.
Well, I know you're going to be on the Senate floor too, so I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you.
Good to see you too.